Steve is messaging me. Is he telling me? He's asking if we're still streaming, which suggests we really are not live.
No, we're not live.
Why? No, we are live. We're totally live. No, we're totally live. He's asking if we're still streaming.
Yeah.
Which
I can't even see the video.
I don't know why it's not showing anywhere that we're not live. Started streaming less than a minute ago. I think OBS just took ages to get working. I think we're
even see the video.
I see. I don't know why it's not showing anywhere that we're not live. I'm probably causing a horrible echo, so sorry. Yep, we're live now. The OBS must have just taken like 5 minutes to like rev up.
Okay, I'm gonna keep looking on your channel.
Alright. Yeah, no, we are now live. Cool.
It's weird, I'm on the internet and I can't even see where. Your current... This is.
If you go to the channel, you'll be able to see that it's live.
You'd think so. I can even see the little live icon next to the channel, and yet I cannot see the stream.
Neither can anyone else, apparently. No one's there.
Restart it again?
Oh no, I see a couple of people just joined.
Oh.
So if are you on our channel?
Oh, I finally see it. Okay, it's just
yeah,
popped up.
Cool, okay. YouTube being very weird.
YouTube being very weird.
Hey there, Steve.
Hey Steve, how you doing? Hey Hero.
Hey Hero.
Should we just let it populate for a second and we can
Yeah.
talk it out?
Thanks, Hero.
It's like you have another hour if you need it. We could change the icon. Actually, well, you know what? Actually, here's what's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Let's spend like 20 to 25 minutes post-morteming this thing.
Yeah.
And then if we all of a sudden realise we're very discontent, we'll spend another 20 minutes fixing it.
Looks like we've got a couple of people piling in.
Okay. I just don't want to miss all the people that have been here the whole time.
Yeah.
Who have we had? We had Rainbow. Rainbow's been here for 4 days, somehow. Who were the other names? Steve, Hero. Multi was here for a bit. Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting familiar with all these names now.
Rainbow the Llama? Did you say Rainbow?
Who? Yeah, I said Rainbow.
Inferno?
Inferno. Anna Bananas.
Anna Bananas was around for a bit. Rayan popped by occasionally. And we saw lots of new faces as well, which names I won't remember because they're new.
I remember Noor. And there was an Adam. There was
like 3 Adams. 3 Adams came. It was like the
There's
Adams
an
family.
Adams well.
Hey.
Let's hold for a sec then.
Hey Anna.
Hey Anna Bananas.
Ends, bends.
Well, do you know what is actually nuts to me?
Mm-hmm.
Did I ever show you Jelly Boys?
Yeah.
That was 29 hours.
That's pretty mad. How many people were on it then?
4. And Matt Kelsey, who's the lead programmer.
It's probably similar man hours then, right? If that was 29.
I don't feel like 4 people put an even amount of work in.
Okay.
Maybe that's not fair.
But yeah, like that would be 58 for us.
Yeah.
And that's we probably did less than 58 on this.
Yeah, actually.
Significantly. I think we probably put about like 40, 42.
This one's way better, by the way. Although Jelly Boys did have the sickest menu in video game history. Do you want to put a little bloop in the Discord just to make sure?
I made an announcement.
I will do.
Did I tag everyone in it? I did. Huh. Okay, we can make a start.
All right, let's just talk through everything we did. Are you happy with it?
Yeah, it's I think it is the best Ludum Dare game that we've made.
Yeah, I think so. I actually don't think there's really any competition, to be honest.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we should give maybe a bit of background here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you lead on. I'll sit and listen.
Sure. So, I've done 4 Ludum Dares now. 3 of which were all like a couple of years ago. We've done Ludum Dare 33, 32, 33, 34. And this one's Ludum Dare 45, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. The first, and they've all had their own like thing about them, really. They've all been a unique experience for a reason. So 32, we made Latvian Milk, a game about neither Latvia nor milk.
Very important.
That was
they're all available on the itch. Actually,
yeah, you can find them all on itch. Yeah. So Latvian Milk was a top-down wave-based shooter to the theme of an unconventional weapon, and the idea was that your gun randomly swapped out to another gun every like 12 seconds, and you just had to run with it and deal with that. We made a game after that was really good. We did that with a friend of mine in Unity. So there were 3 of us working on that.
That was fast.
That was fast. We got a lot done in that. That felt good.
Yeah.
We did pretty well for the voting. Got some good votes on that game. People liked it. The next
I would say Latvian in no small part did lead to me probably studying game development. Just like getting a good game jam out and realizing that you are as good, like you have the potential to be as good as you think you could be.
Yeah. It's
so valuable to give yourself those little like pep talks every now and then. Anyway, carry on.
No, sure. Okay. Here to talk about it. The next game we made was called The Thritch Remains. That was much worse. That's our worst LD entry. This one was just me and Niz, but there is a reason that it's the worst. It's probably the most valuable LD that I've done, because The Thritch Remains was my way of crash coursing Game Maker. I learned Game Maker basically in 3 days over LD33, making The Thritch Remains. And considering that I went from 0 to almost everything I know about Game Maker right now in that time, we got a decent amount done.
Yeah.
We overscoped like crazy. That game was way too big for what we could have done. But
the amount of things that we were talking about, that was an exercise in scope. The amount of things we were talking about having this like top-down combat, which was literally all that the last jam was, as like a very minor feature of a space exploration game. Like, we just had no idea how big we were talking.
So that was a valuable lesson. Learning Game Maker and learning about scope. That all happened in LD33. The next one was Hyperdemocracy. Niz wasn't quite so much around for this. He just wasn't available at the time. But he did, I think, a full day and maybe a bit extra on top of that as well, out of the 3.
I did a little bit of music and
some music.
What was that tune? Because I remember that tune being quite good.
And Hyperdemocracy. So what was the Thritch Remains theme?
The theme was you are the bad guy or something.
Okay, and it had nothing.
The Thritch Remains also, we worked with an external composer.
Oh, we did.
We neither of us did music on that one. Yeah, because we just knew that there wasn't going to be time. Because actually, to be honest, a lot of what I ended up doing, the first day of Latvian for the 3 days, was pretty much just a day of music.
Yeah.
And even this time, actually, I always think I'm quicker at writing music than I am. Writing music is a really slow process.
It is. Multi-track music. You can come up with a melody in a few minutes, but multi-tracking music always just takes so long. Like I was saying to you the other day, I've been on an absolute roll writing music. I've non-stop music writing for the last like 2 weeks, and realised that it amounts to about 3 minutes of music. And it doesn't feel like it.
Exactly.
I've written a ton, but it's 3 minutes. So LD34, the theme was 2-button controls. And it was a game about voting on like bills.
It was two themes. One.
There were 2 themes. Yeah, there was a tie. So it was 2-button control and something else, and I did a game for both. I don't remember the second theme though. Growing? Something about growing?
I don't know.
Because I think that it was about the town growing based on how you voted. Possibly growing. But yeah, the game was very heavily chat-based, so there was a huge amount of dialogue in that game. Enormous. Because I got like 4 people writing it. And it was a game all about reading this like online chat room where people would chat to each other about how they were going to vote on stuff. And then you'd vote on bills and pass or fail them, depending on how people voted. And that was a game that also got overscoped. Nowhere near as much got done in that game as I hoped, but it was still cool. And
what was your scope for that one? Because obviously I wasn't really...
Well, bills didn't really affect much. There was very little in the way of branching paths. That was the general idea. But more would change based on yours. The pitch was you could, depending on the way you were voting, you could like sway the crowd. People would start voting the way you were voting. And that never happened.
No, okay. Just on the website now, submission hour 38 minutes. How many games are there? Can you see how many submissions there are?
Maybe. Can we play games yet?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, maybe we could do some of that tonight if you fancy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the interesting thing about that LD for Hyperdemocracy is that I had this rolling team, kind of like what we've done this weekend. People would drop in, give me artwork and music, and I would add them to the game. A really interesting way of developing. And that brings us to this weekend.
This very weekend, I should say actually just like as a little side stretch, because I can compare a couple of things here too. But I've done 2 other game jams, 3 other game jams, 2 other game jams, 3 other game. I've done 3. I've done 3 other game jams as well. When I was at NFTS, which is where I studied game development. And they weren't LDs, but they were usually quite tight constraints. And I've got to say, even then, working with a team of people who were like studying this, and we were working in Unity, and we had a bit more time, more manpower usually, I still think this is the best one. I actually don't think it's close. Like going into it, like there's so much content in this. This actually feels like quite like a world.
It's a very complete game. There's 12 collectibles, and you can fill a gallery with them.
Yeah, and there's like a thing that happens when you do.
Yeah.
So this looks like he's in a scene of Unfriended. Yeah, I've got my I've got the lamp on, and it keeps making me look intensely white. What was I going to say? Yeah, so the other 3 I've done dead quickly. I'll go through them. One was completely broken. It was I don't know what it's called. It was about trafficking aliens across an intergalactic border. And it was just broken as hell. It didn't work at all. You packed them in like Tetris pieces. That was a 28-hour game jam. Or no, 24-hour game jam. No. 20. It must be 29 as well. Okay. It's like a day and a bit game jam. And that one was really bad. And then did another one where you like a bunch of hockey pucks that all smashed into things. That was really surreal and kind of fun, but really bad. And then did one good one at the end called Jelly Boys. That was 4-person project, 29 hours, and me and Matt were just saying, actually probably about as many man hours, rough, because even though it's a 29-hour game jam, it was divided up more. So really, we probably had about as much time on that, there or thereabouts, as we had on this. And that game was alright, actually. That was like a 2D platformer, with the mechanic of you're controlling 2 screens at once, basically. But again, like I didn't write any custom music for that. In a lot of these, this is also the game jam I've definitely leaned the least on external things for. Other than external tools,
tools, I guess. Like in terms of assets, 0% pre-existing. This is fully new.
Yeah, no, it's totally new. It wasn't 72 continuous hours.
I'm just going to shut my door because I'm aware people are sleeping and someone left the door open.
Very cool.
1 sec.
Yeah, go on. Actually, and while you're doing that, let me just quickly respond to you. Did you enjoy the process? Yeah, it's really fun actually. This is not that, well, we'll keep talking about it. But this was also probably the most fun I've had working on one too. Communicated pretty well. Definitely got tired near the end.
That's something that also never really happened to me for this LD. This LD felt so different than the other 3, but we'll come back to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Can I just say actually, while we've got the submission period open, do you want to get a custom icon for the thing?
If you want to.
I think you have to save the .ico file in GameMaker.
Well, it only lets you, when you do a browse to open, you only get the option to find .ico files.
Okay, one second.
So you need to save .icos.
I will do one now then. ICO convert. Oh, perfect. Maximum size 50 megs. I'll just do this now. It just might be nice.
Yeah.
Just for our posterity more than for the game jam even, really. It's just nice, isn't it, to have?
So while I was shutting the door, have you finished telling everyone about your other gems?
Yeah, it's just the other 3 I've worked on. But so, and again, they were all under really tight time constraints, all 29 hours. And the only one of those that was any good, really, was the most recent one. And I was saying, even in that one, didn't write any music. didn't. No one on the team wrote any music. We used some stock music, some royalty-free music. Leaned on free sound quite a lot. All the art was original, but I would say the art was less good than we have here. And the puzzle design was all right. It had a similar degree of polish to it, I think. Like, it had a sexy main menu, it had a really sexy end credits, actually. It was like a video. But other than that, like, I think that was one of those things that I slowly realized. Basically, it was correctly scoped, right? Yeah. And that's what we did really well on this project. That's fine. Convert, okay.
So yeah, you asked earlier what happened and how did we feel. I guess timeline, first of all. I didn't know if Niz was going to be part of the team early on. So that was a bit of a change. But yeah, when we first got the theme Start With Nothing, it wasn't one of the themes I had a really good idea of what I wanted to do. We had a cool concept, which was Start With Nothing. You have a game menu that has no icons on it. There's no like start button. There's no options, and you have to start solving puzzles to add icons to the menu so that you can start interacting with the game more. Maybe it's even the case that you never play the actual game. The entire thing takes place on the menu. We thought maybe part of the game would be like an auto player happening in the background, although I can imagine that would be something that would take a while to make. I don't know about the scope there, but when the theme came up, I spent about 20 minutes trying to think of how to even begin it, what kind of puzzles you could have for that game, and just couldn't think of anything. So I just decided to scrap it and just start trying to scramble together some other ideas. And the first one I started making was a flying game where you fly through invisible obstacles, and you could click around the screen, and anything that you clicked on would temporarily flash up visible so that you could try and work out where you were going, and anything that you died on would become permanently visible. So you start with nothing.
Did you spend time on this before?
2 hours.
Oh, right, okay.
Would become permanently visible. And this goes to theme because you start with nothing is on screen, and every time you die you're filling the screen with the things that killed you. And it would make the path slowly easier and easier to navigate because you could see more things on it. But making that game actually have the difficulty I wanted it to have would be a really hard thing to do, because you can just spam click in front of the ship and never really have that much of a problem.
Yeah.
So I started making it and just thought, I don't think this is heading towards a good game. But this was very late on. This was between 11 and like 1 or 2 on. Yeah, it was between 11 and 1 on the Friday. So at that point I thought, I want to start a new idea, so what I'm going to do is just go to bed now at 1. I'll think on this while I'm in bed, try and decide what I'm going to do. And basically I came back on Saturday morning, started the stream and went, right, this is the game. And started making the digging thing. And at that point you joined me, and the rest is history. We spent the last couple of days making the digging game. And the game hasn't really changed much since that idea.
Yeah, this is also, I think, kind of interesting for me, is Hyperdemocracy, I guess, was the same, but I was very much just like, hey, what do you need? Like, I've got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But this was very much, I came in, you were like, well, here's the idea, here's what we're working on, and here's basically how the whole thing's going to be structured. Which always sort of works fine if you're in the programming seat, really.
Yeah.
I actually think it's easier to be a lead on a jam if you're a programmer than it is an artist, because I can really sort of flick assets at you. And we ended up finding some middle grounds, and obviously, like, all of our creative ideas got schmooped in.
Yep.
But
and I think we've got.
I felt like this was very much your project.
I think we've got enough experience working together, and have developed our like tastes and ideas and processes parallel to each other, like throughout life. Really, like we've worked on creative things together since we were 4 years old. To the point where this kind of collaboration is just flawless, right? Like there's almost no time devoted to communication, and like how often do we miscommunicate ideas when we're actually designing something? It's
true,
so
actually.
rare.
That's true, actually. Never. That's very sweet. It's also true, though. Like, I do remember, like, I said to you, even when we were in the ideas phase, my mate, Rach, who, you've not met, stayed around and watched after I bumped off the stream, was just like, you guys speak exactly the same. You guys say the same words. You guys, like, deliver in the same fashion. Like, it's not just, like, a humour thing. It's like, she was, like, weirded out by it. But we are just, like, obviously just family, right? It's very obvious. So yeah, no, you're right, there wasn't a lot of miscommunication. There wasn't a lot of downtime. I think I had a couple hours probably total where I phased out, or I don't know, I didn't even like watch a YouTube video or anything, but I probably, just like sat and looked at the screen rather than and like thought about what to do rather than doing any of it.
Yeah.
But
I did that a couple times,
yeah,
like 5 minutes. Mostly only when I was like, I don't even know what the next thing to be doing is. I could get to the end of something and think, I feel like I'm just waiting for art at the moment, and that would kind of stop me in my tracks.
And when you finish like a big job as well, like your brain does like literally like force you to just chill for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just be like, yeah, you've done that. You don't obviously want to just continue with this degree of like heat.
Yeah.
You need to start a new idea with like a new mindset. Yeah. So no, it was really good. So okay, let's talk about the actual game. I've got you an ICO file, by the way, if you want to actually just check it out.
Just before we move on to that, I'll quickly address a couple of things in chat as well. So Steve asked if we enjoyed the process. Yeah, this is one of the most chilled LDs I've done, and they're fun even when you're rushed, but this one was particularly, it just went smooth. It was really satisfying how well everything went. The difference between Jam and Compo is that Compo is a bit more strict. Also, you guys might see random windows popping up in front of Nez's camera there because I'm just cropping my desktop to the correct place.
Yeah, Compo's stricter and tighter time limit.
So you have to be you can be one person, you can't have a team. Everything is very strictly, you have to have made it during the 48 hours, no pre-existing assets.
Which we actually always abide by anyway.
Yeah. And yeah, it's 48 instead of 72. So it is strict. The Jam feels a bit more open-ended, if you like.
Yeah. It'll be interesting actually looking at the Jam games to sort of see. It always feels like the pool of Jam games is really wide because I think some people do lean on old assets. I think some people, and that's not always good. Like actually, you'll see some games that are like gorgeous and you're like, "Oh, there's no way," and then you'll go and like look and stream the whole thing, and they are just the most incredible artists of all time.
Yeah.
Like it does happen. There's some really good people that enter LD, but a lot of the time you see people leaning on like pre-existing frameworks or like projects they've done before. Yeah, excuse me.
Thank you.
What else did you want to address?
So yeah, what were you? Sorry, was there anything else in chat that I was going to say? Looked like the whole process went perfectly. Honestly, not far off. It was as smooth as I could have possibly wished for an LD to go. It was scoped well. Yep. Compost 31% of the LD submissions apparently.
That's a lot.
I'm surprised it's that big.
It'd be less than that. Yeah.
You really weren't any big problems, were there? I think all the other LDs have all had at least one problem that's had us just stuck for a couple hours. Where it's just like,
what's the biggest thing that we had to cut? Because actually the biggest thing that we had to cut really was probably the merchant. And we didn't really think twice. We were just like, well, that's probably not getting in.
Yeah. Junk. You never dig up junk.
Yeah, never got junk in. And there were some things that kind of happened naturally that we never really talked about. Like it ended up being that most of the submitted assets, we were like, let's just have them all as artifacts, and we can sort of get around the fact that some of that there'll be like a break in the cogency of art styles.
Yeah.
By doing it this way or this way or this way.
So yeah, sorry, I interrupted you to go to chat. What were you going to ask?
I was going to ask if you want to put that ICO file on.
Yeah, after that you said like, so what about? Do you remember?
So what about? I was going to say, should we just talk about like?
This has to be 128 or smaller.
Okay, that's 256. So let me cut it in half. I was going to say, do you want to just talk about the things that you like most in the game, things you dislike most in the game?
Yeah, that's a good thing to go to next. What went well, what went badly? I suppose that's a different question than what we like in the game and what we don't.
Yeah, let's do what do you like first. Because actually, to be honest, I don't think anything really went badly.
No, it's very difficult to pick up things that would have been improved.
No, this was easy. And actually, yeah, it's really nice to... Because we've had problems in other ones. Like, I remember at the end of the Thritch, like, we were just dead. A lot of the programming was really bad. Like, you put to bed before we had any of the sound in. So it was like, that shit can be tough. But on this one, I don't think, like, that really happened, to be honest. I think we just timed up pretty well, synced up pretty well. Should I hit or smaller? Should I just do smaller?
Things that I like about the game. Intro cutscene is really cool.
Yeah, it's sick, isn't it?
The polish. The polish is absolutely the biggest cool thing about this game. The polish and the completeness are the two big things. So the shininess of the send is like a really cool.
Yeah, that's the first thing you got done. It's a really cool thing to have done as well.
Like all the sounds fading out at the correct times and stuff while interacting with each other. That's all very cool. there's lots of things that are smooth and lerping, things not just like statically popping in and out. So the polish is good. The art definitely contributes to the polish as well. Just things like having that vignette on there. The museum looks awesome. Like that background behind the museum is a really cool bit of art.
And actually, do you know what? To kind of like segue into the other things that went really well. Whenever we made like gameplay concessions, we made them really quickly. Like you scoped, the obviously project was scoped very well, but then whenever we had to scope down, we did it very effectively. Because that museum originally I thought was going to be a location you could go to. You'd go through the door, it'd do a transition a la like a Pokemon game. You'd be able to walk around. You might even be able to go up to exhibit cases and place the thing from your inventory. And you know, like a system that really is way too overscoped. But I guess you just don't always think about it. And then getting it to the point where it's like, you know what, let's just have a button and you press it and it's just a gallery a la Sky Pirate's Den from Final Fantasy 12 or something like that. And we'll put just a background on it and that's it. Like, that was done very smoothly.
Yeah. The fact that there are these 12... Something that is often not obvious about Ludum Dare games is when you're done, because you don't know how much there is to do. Or when you reach the end, it's just like, okay, I guess that's the last level. This game, actually, it does some things that often there just really isn't time to think about during Ludum Dare. Because when you're making a game and you have more time, you can think about things like conveyance, for example. And tutorialization and all that kind of stuff. Which is just, because you're trying to get the basics done in 3 days, you're not really thinking about it in LD. But our game, I think, has a really nice conveyance of what your goal is and when you're done. You can go in, you see these 12 silhouetted museum artifacts. The guy tells you about them in the opening cutscene. You kind of have a hint as to what they might be. The shape kind of suggests what they might be. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to find an amulet down here, maybe a helmet up here. And it's very clear when you find one, it adds it to the museum. And you know when you're done, all 12 fill up, and you get a little dancing old wan.
Actually, and yeah, just to, like talking about that, like, so in the other 3 games we've got, I think we've had to write the controls in the description of LD, or if we haven't done it, we should have done it. If we haven't, it's because the controls are written nowhere. And like even in Latvian, which is like the best one we did, really, probably the most like feature complete. Like there was no wave counter, there was no score, there was no. A lot of the complaints you got just like, yeah, I mean, like, you know, you've sort of got a cool bit of gameplay done, but you've not made a game. What you've made is like a segment. It's a very thin vertical slice. Whereas actually, this is a feature complete short game.
Yes.
Which is unusual. And it's hard to do.
This isn't a proof of concept. It's not a prototype. This is just a finished game.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I haven't done one of those since like The Feeling Falling. Like, I don't think I've done it. I think it's probably like the most finished thing I've worked on in like 2 years, which is really nice. And I'm a fucking game developer. You just don't finish stuff in this industry. 20 minutes to add files. Do you want to do that ICO now?
I'm actually exporting right now, yeah.
Okay, cool. There's a 128. A couple of things that I would have changed given the time. I think actually, who was going off at the end? About shadows. Because I think that's true, honestly. It would have been nice to have got a bit more shadow in that.
Yep, I agree.
Is there anything else? I mean, like, honestly, not really. Anything that's like a visual cogency issue, I am like a bit always like, that's a bummer.
Yeah. There's lots of things that are done quickly and dirtily and would not be the way you did them if you were making this game for real. But I can't say I'm upset about any of that, because that's just how it goes at Ludum Dare. You have to do that. Getting it done in any way is an achievement.
It's I also like, you know, not to like control freak it, but usually you want all of the art done by one person or by a team of people who are working to a style guideline.
Because like an art lead who gives the the references and is constantly checking.
And like that, we didn't get that, and there's some instances where it shows, but for the most part there isn't. And actually, I got way more done than I thought I was going to be able to. Because one of the other things that's really weird about working with you is we do like this is the most definitive, specific roles we've done. I didn't write a line of code. I didn't write a single line of code this entire time. You know, and did you? I think well, you did do like a couple drawings, but it was fairly minimal. Right?
I did a couple bits of art. I did slight modifications of a fair few things. I was making attempts to try and uniformize art coming in from people, but I'm not very good at it. There was a lot that I was just like, you fix this because I can't fix that.
Yeah, of course, and also just like little things like we even divided up like you were like I'm on all sound effects, and I ended up being on all music, and it was quite an unspoken sort of thing because again these are things that theoretically we could be splitting all this up.
Yeah.
You know, like you're a musician, like I know how to do sound effects, like I do program all the time. Like if you wanted to, I'm sure you could have like muscled a little more out, although I know it's probably the one field that you're least comfortable in. But like there are areas we just split it down the line very very smoothly. Actually, and one of the things that I really like. And is really important, especially in a jam, and you're very good at, is iteration. Like from getting an asset finished to getting it in the game, that time was so low. Like we could test something. Like if I had an animation that I wanted to see, I'd usually see it within 10 minutes. Like if we had an asset that was going to feature in the gameplay and was going to be part of the puzzle, it was usually in within about half an hour. Like it was very easy to do.
Yeah, I felt like this is definitely the fastest I've been at just grappling with Game Maker out of all the LDs.
Yeah.
Because just the workflow of getting sprites in and making objects and stuff out of them this time around did feel faster than it has previously. So yeah, like all the polish, like all the completeness, dislike the lack of shadows. I agree with that. I dislike the idea.
Actually, do you know what? Part of it started to come through. I started to get how it could be appealing. The second, I don't think it was framed quite well enough to be this, but it basically started being a bit like an escape room or something, right? Like, if it had been really dense, and maybe it had a bit more of an internal logic.
Yeah.
Because it didn't really have an internal logic, right? If it had a bit more of that, it could have been a kind of weird puzzle game. And it isn't really a weird puzzle game. It is.
It's a very casual puzzle game. That's like I'm saying, it's a casual game, and it's really out of necessity. It's become a casual game because we didn't have enough to make it into a real game. In a way, it's almost like a cop-out casual game.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, I think actually, like, it's one of the reasons that maybe we wouldn't be keen to continue this is because there's no defining mechanic or brilliant thing that you wouldn't want to let go of. And actually, there's nothing other than like the way we work together that I would want to take forward into a project if we did another game. Like I wouldn't be like, well, that worked really well, let's do that. I might do things like, hey, that effect we did on the sand was cool.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, you know, that opening cutscene worked really well. Like we should try and do something like that again. Or, you know, that art, you know, like the same way that all of the characters for the last 4 games we've worked on have looked the same because it's just a really easy template to iterate. Like you do stuff like that. But I don't think like any of the ideas we did for this were like, oh, brilliant, gotta smash that one through. So yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I think maybe one of the weaker things was just the premise, but it was a really pared down premise. It was really scoped down, and I think also actually because it wasn't a super like a deep mechanical premise, it did help us scope the game down around it because we weren't getting really hooked on ideas of well, this is brilliant, so we have to have these 9 things in.
I think there is a correlation between how much I like the idea of an LD game that we've come up with and how complete we got it, how badly we scoped it. I think the reason we scoped this game so well and got it so complete is because it's an idea that I'm not too into.
Yeah, we didn't need to, and also there was maybe because in things like Twitch and stuff, there's always been this kind of niggling in the back of your head of like, well, if we don't do a good job for the jam, we'll probably just do it over the next 2 weeks. Yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like it's better to get all of these core principles like super smooth or like feeling like I want them to, even if it takes 9 hours to iterate. And like we were saying, like some of the puzzles in this are like rubbish, to be honest. Like, you know, go and just walk to the end of this little mesa maze, which, you know, you were saying like, well, that's a pretty bad one. I'm like, yeah, I know, but we've got 12 to do. Like we wouldn't let ourselves get away with that.
Yeah.
In other titles, probably.
Unless it was maybe one out of like, I mean, in another title, I think you actually would do that kind of thing because if you think of another collectathon like Riddler trophies in a Batman game,
right?
Some of them are literally as easy as like there's probably 50 walk up to and pick up trophies in Arkham Knight, but there's also 350 puzzles of various difficulties. And it's kind of fine that those easy ones are in there. And if we had a game where there was 200 of these things, having the Mesa Maze, completely acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking even like Breath of the Wild has tons of these like environmental puzzles as you walk around, right? Yeah. Some of those are literally just like that spot on the ground looks fun. Yeah, you're right. Go. And press the button over there or whatever.
So while we're on this kind of point, ways that you could, even though I don't plan on touching this game again.
Thanks, Rex.
Hey there, Rex. Thank you. Yeah, I don't plan on touching this game again. But ways you could take this idea forwards. I think I've got a couple comments on that. So first off,
did you get that icon in, by the way?
It's in, yeah.
Okay.
This game is reminiscent of this idea. This idea is kind of very loosely based on another idea I had a long time ago for a game that you may recognise. I'll probably mention this at some point in this. But we talk about so many ideas that it's hard to keep track. But a game which is... I didn't mention it as top-down, but it would be totally viable top-down. A game where you are exploring... You're an archaeologist, and you're exploring kind of a Stonehenge-type structure. Like ruins in a grassy field type thing, maybe with like nearby caves and stuff, more like an English countryside type setting. But you have tools like you can bring like standing lamps and set them to various heights, like with a sliding. And you can actually measure things out. Like you've got measuring tools so that you can map and draw on radii around points of interest and things to maybe see where ley lines overlap and all that kind of stuff. And you go down into caves and find cave drawings that maybe suggest certain things. Possibly even you simply get given a book near the start of the game with like 50 pages that you can just read through all of it if you want. And those pages have various like relevancies to different things. And there's a through line in the book. Maybe there's a language that you have to kind of translate that when you first see it in the book, there's no way of, like, it's just this mess of, it's just a foreign language. But there's also symbols and things that start helping you work it out, and eventually you might realize, oh, this repeating word is north. These are directions, these unusual words. And you can slowly start translating this language in the book, kind of like your Apti. And there's just pictures like there's a giant tree in there, and maybe you can use it to follow a root system or find a similar tree in the world with a missing branch, and that shows you maybe it has like a constellation map that does stuff. So similar kind of idea, but yeah, basically you mentioned the internal logic not existing. So it's that kind of idea where there is an internal logic. You're an explorer who actually is really trying to uncover the mysteries and the mythology, I guess, of this ancient civilization that no longer exists. And that, I think, is a really cool idea. Like, I think I'd be down to make that game. But the puzzles, because of the internal logic, the puzzle design is much harder.
I think another way, like, you could have made this into something that I would have been like, actually, you know, like, this could be a bigger thing and this could be like Steam friendly, because it isn't now, and there's no way that you would just do more of the same, right? But if you'd had a very, very, very dense environment and a lot more interaction, so that you're not just walking around and digging stuff up, but if it had been that, you know, every tile of the world held some significance to something, and what you're in is just like an enormous puzzle room, like the same size we're in now, but like if everything, all these visual clues, and, you know, something like Fez, I guess, where like you're being fed all these like stories and all this information. Maybe had a couple more characters to meet, then you could have a sort of very weird exploration puzzle game. But one of the things that I know that you and I both really value in a puzzle game is having like a core internal logic, and usually a core mechanic that makes you start thinking in a specific way, and locks you into that way of thinking, rather than something that Fez did that I wasn't always into, and it's still good, and something that a lot of escape rooms and things do as well, is kind of rely on external logic, or rely on understanding, or like even like, you know, in Fez, like, you do have to go and Google stuff sometimes, and like, you know, there's a QR code you can scan and things like that. But I think like having something closer to, you know, like Braid and The Witness and Baba and all these games that have these very specific internal logics, once you have something that's mechanically making you solve all these puzzles using a thing that you have never thought about before, that does it. And you can have, you know, that same kind of setting and the same premise and the same art style, but with something different about your key interaction with the world.
So what went well and what went badly? And I agree, not much went badly, but
Not much went badly. Oh, Rainbow's off. We need to
I
bid
like
Rainbow a good night. Congratulations on staying awake for, I think, actually the full 72 hours from what I remember. You've been lovely company. What went badly? What went well? What was really good? So yeah, I'll do my list as well. I think the opening cutscene, actually just that opening crawl, as a way to introduce the game is brilliant. There are, I think, in every game we've kind of assigned personalities to like the world and to characters that we've just shared, and this one has a little bit of that. There is some dialogue. There are two characters. That old man coming back to celebrate at the end is fun. He's almost got like his own theme. Like there's a little, I don't know. There's more grounding to the world as a result of that intro. And some of the puzzles are good. I think the Morse code reflection thing is sick. I think the ostrich puzzle that we got in at the beginning, it's ridiculous and it's hard and doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense. It's very specific, but it is good. Things like even just like digging up the coconut and stuff, like the way it moves is fun. And, a lot of it feels really cool. What else was? I'm trying to think. Like, what were the other? Like, even like the TV puzzle was cool. Like the puzzles are interesting. Some of the ideas are kind of fun. They're just not cogent. But it's kind of not a cogent idea. It is a bunch of, and I think actually getting crediting people's artwork in the gallery and stuff and kind of showing that it's like a bunch of haphazard ideas had over 72 hours. Like it feels like a cool jam game. And it's, do you know what? I think it's one of the better looking games we've done as well. Like I think it is actually, it's come across visually really well. The sand trick is sick. The music is actually like good. I'm happy with it in the end.
Very to theme. Sets the mood.
Very to theme.
We're gonna get good mood points.
We're gonna get good mood points. I suspect we'll get good music points and good art points. You know what? Actually, I know we did credit ourselves. I always want to credit at the end that you wrote the music because I think no one ever believes that you have. And a lot of people do just take other music, so they'll be like, "Oh, music's good," but they often say it for music that's like middlingly good that they know someone wrote.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of the time, obviously, teams don't have, like me and you did music long before we did game dev, so we're cheating. But a lot of people don't.
It's nice to be able to be the jack of all trades. The fact that we have 100% original assets in this game is we can cover between us. In fact, individually to some extent, but definitely between us, we can code art and make music for a game.
Yeah.
And design really and do the design as well.
It makes you a really strong hand at things like jams. It makes you a really strong hand at things with limitations to them, where you're not hiring people out and you can't just pay to plug holes.
Right.
And I think it makes you very good at small projects. And one thing I will say is it doesn't always lead to projects that feel as polished. So like nailing that is really important. Because I do think like the most, like again, like I do this now, right? Like this is now my job, and the most important lesson I learned at NFTS especially is just like it's so hard to make a finished thing. Like it isn't hard to make a good thing. It is hard to make a finished thing. It's like what like when you first start game development, you think your ideas are worth a lot, and then when you start doing game development, you're like, my ideas are worth absolutely nothing. Like its execution is worth a lot more. And then actually, as you keep going, it's like my execution isn't even worth anything. It's my like commitment that's worth the most. And this is a project where we did like completely finish it, have something polished. It does feel good. There's lots of little bits of juice in there that still feel good. Like the sound effects are cool, like getting the camera shaking, getting the glint in. Like these are things that sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good bit of polish.
Yeah, we polished like the whole way through as well. Like I say, like the fact that you had that desert shining really early. Yeah, it was just so cool. And all the concessions we made to make things run better. Like eventually you just quartered the size of the map. Eventually we just peeled this back and peeled this back. And they weren't decisions that, any of us got hung up on, I think, maybe because partially, maybe it is worth just working on ideas that you don't think are great. Because you are just willing to sacrifice way quicker and it lets you finish and it lets you make something sick. Like now I think this is one of the best things we've worked on. And it's really funny because it's probably the idea that me and you were most disinterested in.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah. Speaking of making concessions quickly, I think one of the biggest I think maybe the next thing to talk about as well in general is like if you're going to do a game jam, if you're going to do a Ludum Dare, what are our tips to you? And that's a big one. Cutting your losses, not being a victim of what's it called, like a loss aversion.
Yeah,
I've put
like
some work into this, therefore I should just keep
fallacy.
going with it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that's, and actually, this is, I know we look like we knew what we were doing here, but this is definitely the best we've ever done it now. I think me and you can both really get stuck on our ideas.
Yeah.
And usually because they're really good ideas, right? Like,
I would hope so.
but like, yeah, it's one of those things that we can land on for a long time. And I think actually to just be like, what's reasonable? Like, especially near the end there, I think I probably said 15 things that you said no to in the final day. Things like, should we have a closing cutscene? Like,
Right.
actually, let's get all the shadows in for that. Things like, they should be unique sound effects for their specific dialogue boxes, like little tiny things that you were very quick to just naysay. Especially near the end, like part of it's tiredness, right? Like you genuinely don't want to do as much, but also like it ended up being very effective scope management to just be like, no, we can't do this. Like I don't know how many times, I'm sure I did it with you as well, just being like, that I'm not animating that, like that's going to be too much work, or even saying to you like, I don't think that we should pursue this path, or at the end like saying the puzzles, like let's get some more programmatic puzzles, and I'm like, yeah, but let's just get these 3 as well, these rubbish ones. And like 12 items is as high as we're going to go, and blah 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 blah.
And I think
like it was
a lot of that does come from experience as well. Like we've just got more experience of how big scopes can be, which means when you do say let's do this, I can make quite a quick calculation of we've got this much time, this needs doing. I think I know how long that's going to take, so I'm just going to say no to it. Or yes to it.
And there were some things that we took risks on, right? Like that getting that opening cutscene in, it's probably a half day, maybe more even. And that was something that we didn't know until we started, but it was early enough in the project that we could get a sense that it was probably going to be about worth it, and like timed out well. But then after you've done that, you have a very clean idea of that's as much as I can do now. Like I can't do another one. Like with the music as well, got 2 pieces done. It was very obvious that I wasn't going to ever get a 3rd piece done.
Yeah.
I'm glad we didn't have a place for one, but I would have vetoed that pretty succinctly.
Yeah. Quick comment from Guy in Game Jam chat. He is playing the game. He really likes it. He absolutely loves the music. He says, "Where's it from?"
I told you, man. No one ever believes.
And he's found 5 so far. It'll be fun to hear about how people get on with this game who didn't see the development like Guy here. Like, which ones will end up being really hard, which ones will be easy.
I wonder if Guy is just teasing about the music because I said it earlier. But it's true, no one ever believes that you did the music.
In chat, but we'll ask him.
Who's Drayan? Drayan's a username that we're sharing our LD account over. It's my old PlayStation user.
So tips for...
Is LD45 searchable for buried things? I think so. It's definitely searchable on itch right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, tips if you're going to do a game jam. Cutting your losses. I put 2 hours of work into not this game, and at that point, it's can be difficult to say to yourself, I've already put 2 hours of work in. Just deleting those files and starting over is painful, but really weigh up your options and don't just carry on with something because you've already invested time into it.
Yeah, actually, the track that ended up being the desert track, I'd sunk probably about 2 hours into, on and off, into a song that is not in this game. Didn't use any of it. Just it wasn't. I was finding it too hard, or I wasn't going to get it to the degree of quality I wanted, or it just wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. It was way better to cut that. I'm glad we did.
Other tips for a game jam.
Don't undervalue things like setup. So like we had the opening cutscene, and your game doesn't need an opening cutscene, but getting something in that tells the player what to do is so valuable, because actually like Thritch, like me and you sort of had an okay time exploring the mechanics, but there was no real end goal. There was no real like moment to moment joy, and the game is so hard to play. Like, how do you know what to do? How do you know to examine a module and then bolt it on and then go to another place and then examine a You can't know any of that stuff. So if your game has any degree of complexity in its mechanics, and I think that's fine, right? Like, make sure you're telling your player what to do. Like, even little things that we almost didn't do. Like, And the dialogue at the beginning, like they need to know to click
Yep.
to get past the dialogue. Like it's valuable to spend.
That's another really
20
nice
minutes
bit of
on.
polish. If you idle on that first dialogue box in that, you get a prompt to click. That's sick.
Yeah, that is sick.
It's just the kind of thing you don't have time to do in LD, and we got it in.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anything that, like, I think this game actually could have benefited a little bit if we'd had more time from a rehaul of the controls. I think it would have been nice to use
Yeah.
arrows as well as WASD.
Yep.
I think maybe we could have done with getting the mouse completely out of the game, or at least had the option to not have to use it. Like
Yep.
that would have been nice. It is more work though.
It's a lot easier to do that in different engines as well.
Sure, Game Maker's weird. I mean, Unity just does it for you, right?
Yeah.
You don't even have to.
Another tip: scope down like crazy. Your idea will never be too small for a game jam.
No.
It's almost impossible to come up with an idea that's actually too small for the time. And even if somehow you come up with an idea that after 48 hours you go, it's done completely, I have nothing to add to this. Just act, like you can just come up with a new feature, right? Like you can't.
Yeah.
It's difficult to come up with a game that it's impossible to even like put another level on or another mechanic on.
I think I've seen like game jam games that have come out of this where a lot of it is just like you walk to here, a conversation happens, you walk to here, a conversation happens, you walk to here, and then you get like a dialogue choice, right?
Yeah.
Like that's nothing. That's not, but like you can actually end up getting something kind of interesting like that. You spend a lot more time on your artwork or your mood or your writing or your, or the twists of your dialogue. Like you can do stuff with it. And like this idea felt tiny. That you go around and you dig in a desert. It also feels boring. Like you have to now work on making that fun. Like when we started, I think you sort of had two rough ideas for puzzles, and you're like, well, we'll just have to do puzzles. Like you need time to increase the enjoyment in those things.
Yeah. And speaking of puzzles, another tip for LD: if you're going to make a puzzle game, you have to know what you're doing. Coming up with puzzles quickly is so. It's like an oxymoron because a good puzzle has to be so well thought out. So to make a good puzzle game in 3 days is extremely hard, and by no means am I saying that we did that in this LD, because the puzzles aren't very good. Like I say, I don't actually like the idea of this game. I've seen
one of the puzzles is just 4 things are pointing at a thing. Like
Yeah.
that's not even a puzzle.
Well, there's one where it's just you go to the end of a path. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a single puzzle in here that I think is actually in of itself what I would call a genuinely good puzzle if I played it in another game.
No, I think the only thing that the thing I'm most keen on puzzle-wise was the Morse, and it's because the way it's revealed is cool. Not even like a Morse code translation is like that's bad. It's like a bad puzzle.
Yeah.
But like the way that we show it off using, and I guess because it feels diegetic, it feels like something that exists in our game that you wouldn't see in another game. So that's cool. Also, Guy just said played for 30 minutes, found 7 for 12. Not followed any coding progress.
I guess you weren't in chat. I did see your message and did say something on here as well. But the music is for the game. Niz wrote that over this 3 days, so it's not from anywhere. It's ours.
And it was funny. I was literally saying about 20 minutes ago, even though we have credited ourselves, like I was thinking it's really annoying that we didn't credit the music because it's the one thing that no one ever believes you did, because so few people do it. So few developers do write their own music, and me and Matt like do both write music like a lot. So I was saying it's one of those things that we should have said, like game made by us. Also, we did do the music because no one will vote up our music.
We should maybe put that in the description.
Yeah, maybe actually, yeah, just like a all assets original.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and quickly write that. That's a good thing to put.
Yeah, that is valuable.
Okay. I wonder if we've got any votes yet.
Is very inventive.
Not very likely, but.
Thanks, Guy.
Ratings received 0, but with an. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we've got no ratings. We need 20 ratings to actually.
We have to play. Okay, we have to play 20 games then.
Yeah, and I think the more games we play, the higher up we are on the list of other people playing our game. That's how it works. So if we play loads of other people's games, more people see ours.
Yeah, I think it's coolness. I think they call it.
Yeah, I think it's the coolness thing. Yeah, which is why we got no ratings on Thresh. We didn't play anyone else's game.
We didn't need them to see what we did.
Why am I logged out right now? Okay, let me just quickly edit this. So, don't make puzzle games. Make a tiny idea. Cut your losses. Prep before the jam is a big one. If it's especially for the way Ludum Dare works, we come up with rough ideas for the entire shortlist of themes to spend as little time as possible once the theme drops and the 72 hours begins, actually coming up with what we're going to make. Which didn't really happen this time. The idea did happen within the 72, not before it. But yeah, spending some time with the list, coming up with ideas for all of the potentials, if that's how your jam works, that's a huge help because you're under no time constraint beforehand.
Well, sleep well, guy. Actually, one of the other things I'll say, because as artist on this project, this is an art style I have now done 4 times, and it's really minimal. Like, the characters are 16 by 16; they don't move very much. Their arms don't move when they run. There's a very limited palette. Usually, if a color appears, there's at most a dark and a light version of it to act as shading, and that's it, and it's flat, and they're usually quite separated, and they're high contrast, and blah, blah, blah. It really helps to limit your art style. And actually, one of the things that you said near the beginning, when you drew I can't remember what it was, like a tree or something, and it was like hyper minimal, it was one color, and you're like, it'd actually be quicker to change the whole art style over to this at this point. Like, that wasn't untrue. Like, it can actually really help. One, cut your losses. Like, I guess I just knew we'd be able to do this because I've done it before. But have a hyper minimal art style. I know I saw like a post on the indie game chat on Facebook or whatever ages ago. It was someone's YouTube video, and they were like, "How can I impress?" And it's like, commit to an art style that you personally can over deliver on. Right? It doesn't matter what the art style is. You have to be able to over deliver on what it is. Like, the art style can be literally like flat colored squares and cubes, right? And like, that's not even like a thing saying like, in theory, like, you can do it, not just because Thomas Sloan did it. Like, you can do it now, again, different. Like, you can do it. You just have to over deliver on it. Don't be trying to do what someone else would do and doing a slightly worse job. Like, if you can think of a small, simple thing that you managed to do that looks quite nice and you can sort of vaguely replicate it, make sure you're doing that. Because again, music, fine, like, got away with it a bit and just like played with a fun tool and went for something I think honestly like holds up and sounds quite good. But like, the art is so hyper minimal. It's like that for a reason, because it's something that we knew we could over deliver
on. When you're coming up with your game idea, another, I think, tip, try and make sure you're not making the game that everyone else is making. So we always discuss, this is the theme, what will the common game be? And in this case, start with nothing. I'm thinking immediately, well, it's going to be things like the Big Bang, where you've got a cosmos that is empty and then you add stuff into it, or possibly farming games where you have this arid plain and then you grow plants from it. Like, that's the 2 immediate things that come to mind. And I've seen an example of both of those on the Ludum Dare front page, over this last 3 days. And I haven't checked that page very often. I've looked 4 or 5 times, and I've seen both of those games have definitely already been made.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Evolandy looking stuff already. Yeah. And I figured that was just going to be there.
So try and work out what the most common game is, and if you can avoid it, avoid it.
I really want to look at some of these games on the LD now.
Well, I mean, I think have we finished with the Post-Mortem? Is there anything else you want to
add? Is there anything else? We've talked about sound, we've talked about polish, we've talked about the art and the programming, and you talked about your experience with Game Maker.
Sleep, that's a good tip.
What?
Sleep during the
actually do sleep.
Just
do sleep, actually. It's really nice to do it.
The pacing of this weekend was so much better than the other LDs I've done. The other LDs have been like starting decent pace, and then halfway through thinking, holy hell, nowhere near enough has been done, or hitting major problems and I don't want to think about it, or I'm too tired to even work out what's going on right now, and feeling like it's crumbling beneath you, and just getting more panicked and more disheartened by things going wrong, and feeling not correct, and it just compounding over the weekend is what the last couple have felt like, and this one was just so smooth.
Smooth.
Everything we added just felt like, yep, that's another like percentage point of the completion of this game now.
Yeah, it did actually. How many more hours do you reckon you did than me?
4 or 5.
Okay. So you didn't overwork yourself then, really?
Hmm.
Because I feel like I worked pretty much as like you were. I did about as much work as you were going to reasonably get out of me. Like if I needed to now, I could probably do another like 2 hours. I've got a bit of time left in me like today, but like yesterday, I worked until death, and I worked as early as I was reasonably able to get my brain into gear.
Yeah.
And that was good. Like we didn't punish ourselves. Like I didn't actually. I set some alarms yesterday, and I just slept through them. It was great.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, it felt
I
really
slept
nice.
through my alarm yesterday by like an hour and a half. Cool, whatever.
Hey Dylan, it went really well.
Yeah, if you want to check this VOD out, we've basically spent the last hour talking about exactly how it went. But the general consensus is it went great. We're super happy with the product, and I think we've talked about pretty much everything we need to. Do you
Yeah,
want
I don't think there's anything else to say.
Do you want to play some games on stream now?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, we can.
Can I screen share you if we're going to do that then? Because I don't want to have to watch on the delay. That's a nightmare.
Can you? So do you want me to Discord me to you or you to me?
You play them, and I'll watch and guide.
You can also like go
Because
to the game and play it yourself alongside if you want. Not on stream, but you could load up the same game if you wanted to.
yeah, I could do. Or I mean, for some of them, I might do. Or we can even play side by side. But I don't want to have to watch your reactions on stream
That's
with the
fine.
delay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really confusing.
No worries.
I'm going to be up for another probably couple hours. I'm going to disappear now for 10 minutes. I'm going to
Okay.
make a cup of tea. I'm going to just like shake myself loose a bit. And then, do you want to just start loading up and talking to people about what's going on and do it on this
That's what I'm
this
gonna do.
pod?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll see you in a second.
All right, bud.
You can disco the camera if you like.
Sure. Okay. All right. I'm gonna start getting my OBS set up here, ready to play some games. So let's. So the last couple LDs I've done, I've had around 3,000 game entries, just under. Whoa. Let's get rid of that. 3,000 there or thereabouts. Obviously, you never get to play that many games, but you can play other people's games, you can rate them, and then at the end of, I think it's 3 weeks usually. So, okay, yeah, here you go. So play and rate games. This happens for the next 21 hours, and then the result, 21 days, excuse me, and then the results come in at 22 days. So now we can play and rate games. So let's see how that's going to work. All games. Can we hit random? I wonder how we're going to go through these games, how we'll sort. All. That's fine. I would like a random sort. Danger? What's danger? Oh, this is to help people out with ratings who aren't going to get ratings otherwise. By grade? These are the best rated games so far, I guess? Oh, sorry. So, statistics. Number of game submissions. It's actually less than the last couple of LDs I've done. I was expecting this thing to be just getting bigger and bigger. I was expecting more than 3,000. But number of submissions is 2,600. 100% of entries are games. You don't really see these. Half the games have 0. And then everything else is more than that. Okay. Me. Things like you go here. My grades. Items you have graded. Okay, that's cool. Shows you the games that you've graded. We need to play at least 20 games. But we'll do a lot more than that. A game called Limbo. I thought that game existed already. I couldn't work out how to do a post to this page. I don't understand how I do one of those. Is it this? Create blog. Oh, okay, there we go. Let's make a blog post. Tell people about our game. Dig stuff. Buried things. There you go. Buried things. Screenshots. Alright, so we've posted to the front page. Wow, that's a big picture. Okay, that's nice. Hopefully that means some people will find our game. Hey there, Creative Commander. So we've just finished taking part in a game jam called Ludum, which is a competition. You have 3 days to make a game based on a theme. This month's theme was Start With Nothing. So you have to come up with an idea and do everything in 3 days to make a tiny game. And then you submit it, and everyone can play each other's games and rate each other on how good they think the games are. So we've just finished, like an hour ago we submitted our game. And now we're going to start playing some of the other submissions. I've just made a blog post showing people our game. Hopefully that means we can snatch 1 or 2 people from the front page to come and play our game and get some ratings on it. I really wish there was just a random... Explore? Isn't built yet. I wonder, does yours have any ratings yet? Probably not, because we've not rated anyone else's, which is how people start finding yours. Hey, guinea pig. Looking forward to trying it. Yeah, excellent. If anyone's playing our game who hasn't really been watching the development and therefore doesn't know any of the spoilers, let me know how it goes, because obviously there's been no playtesting on this game. Puzzles were made very quickly, and I know full well that some of the puzzles in this game are probably just too difficult for there not to be more of a hint to them. But I'm curious as to which ones those are. So if you've played it, let me know which ones you thought were really easy, if there's any that you just can't find, or any that maybe you find and thought that was a shot in the dark, or that wasn't a very good clue, or something like that. Just curious as to which clues people find intuitive and which ones they don't. Would there be a nice easy way of just choosing a random entry from this page? You almost certainly will not be able to play this on phone, no. If it's a Windows phone, then maybe you stand a chance. What do you mean, what did I just do, Stu? According to LD, we published 2 minutes ago. Are you looking at the blog post that I made? We made a... Yeah, you're looking at this, I think. This is not our game. It's saying that I published this blog post 4 minutes ago. Someone made a game jam simulator. Sounds great. Maybe that's a place to start. I should probably have a profile picture. Huh? There you go. If I go back to the front page, is that actually updated? No. Well, I started working on Honk. I want to make a real single player experience. An unreleased level. That's a very nice looking game. That's good art for an LD. I like the look of this one. That looks cool. Oftentimes you'll find streamers, and actually I suppose this goes for us as well if you happen to have made an LD game, oftentimes streamers will take requests to play people's LD games. So I may well try that and see who's streaming LD reviews and see if they want to play our game out. The 4 that are appearing when we refresh are specifically appearing out of like the top 50 current games. I'd like to just get like any game. But when Niz gets back, I'll ask him how he fancies sorting, because what we might do is try and rate games with no ratings to try and help people out. Or maybe we'll just try and go for the best games. Oh, okay, so if we see this icon, it just means they've not uploaded a cover, I guess, because I've seen this a few times now. Can I, like... Are these all obviously numbered? Do they have IDs? So
Hello.
Hello. I can actually see all of the things in the inspect element. I'm trying to work out, so how are we going to decide which games to play? Do you want to sort by a particular method? Like, do we want to try and rate people up who don't have many ratings? Or do you want to go for the best games? Or I want there to be a random function, but there isn't.
What's our game's thumbnail? Oh, is it the thumbnail?
It's the opening splash.
Okay. I don't mind. Steve says, "What did you just do?" According to LD,
I've
2 minutes ago.
addressed that. Yes, he was looking at the published date of. I've made a blog post.
Got it.
And he was looking at the publish on the blog post.
He was panicking.
Yeah.
Okay. I like. Well, yeah, random's good. I mean, if you see anything,
well, there is no random. That's the problem. I wish there was.
If you see anything that looks pretty, play it.
So we're going for good games then?
Usually, I don't know. Do you want to just play it? You just want to play everything. Yeah, no, random is more fun. You're right.
But there is no random.
Then how many are there per page? What happens when you?
You just load up more at the bottom.
I think it intentionally doesn't give you a random because it wants the coolest thing to happen, right? So it wants to push certain games up.
But you can choose by like worst games. You can choose by danger.
Can you?
Yeah.
So how many are loaded on the page? It's infinite scroll.
And yeah, you just keep going.
I can just refresh the page and play the first one, right?
I mean, that's not random, but we can.
It might be random-ish. It's not sorted by anything yet, is it?
It's sorted. Well, you have to have a sort option.
Oh. I don't know then. That one called Flash and Bones. Play that one. There you go.
You're looking behind. I've sent you my actual screen share on Discord so you can see properly.
Nice. I don't want to watch the stream. I find it so confusing.
And should we just search by smart? It says smart, so it must be pretty smart.
I mean, I like smart things.
Just go by smart, I guess.
I will say there's one thing that's going to put us at a significant disadvantage is having a downloadable exe, not web player.
Yeah. Which can't be done really for Game Maker, can it?
No. Well, I can find out when we find out. Do some googling, see if there's like a HTML5 build or something.
Ratings given 5.875. How does that work? Ratings received 1. Don't understand how this works.
I don't know either. Game Maker HTML5.
Okay, we're gonna play Rolly Shot.
Alright. You start with nothing.
So.
Okay.
In Rolly.
Rolly. Surely Rolly.
Yeah, I guess. Rolly Shot. I guess it's supposed to be like a play on Rolly Shit. So in Rolly Shot, you're a dung beetle and you want to impress your love by creating the biggest ball of shot this world has ever seen. Alright. You start with a small ball of shot.
It's Rolly shit, isn't it? That's what it's supposed to be.
Nah, because it's the same symbol, so they must represent the same thing.
It must be.
You start with a small ball of shot and need to increase its size by rolling up obstacles in your way. You roll up obstacles in your way, okay. until your ball is large enough to absorb another obstacle. So it's kind of like that fish game.
Yeah.
You can shoot your ball in front of you to quickly roll over obstacles. Okay, so WASD, jump at space, aim with mouse, and click. Cool. Okay. Let's play easy, and we'll go up from there. All right. Can you see?
That's good.
Is it
Yeah, I
working?
can do it. Yeah. Well, that was gross. So I guess right. So you can shoot
it comes back to you like a boomerang. I feel like that's going to make it very easy.
I'm guessing you can't walk into a lot of these things.
Do I have a shield right now? Is that?
Can you jump? Is there a jump button?
Yeah, space is jump.
Jump that. Jump that thing.
Jump's not very responsive. Oh, okay. Picking things up restores health.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess he's got red outline.
Is there any sound? Is there any music?
Oh, can you not hear that?
No, I can't hear.
Yes,
Not
there is.
right. Is it
There's a drum that comes in occasionally, but it's not looping. It just comes in occasionally.
A drum?
Yeah, it just goes bum, 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 sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The music is very minimal, but it's not offensive, it's just minimal.
I can't tell if this is artifacting or not, or is there like a screen overlay that looks like just artifacting?
No, that's probably just screen share. This is the easy level. It's not that easy, or maybe just the jump is kind of difficult to.
I mean, you're in full health.
Yeah, I've taken a lot.
Can you kill those?
Oh, okay. So yeah, no,
guys?
I can grab these now. I'm big enough.
Kill them. Kill those fools. You got a cookie.
It controls quite nicely. Whoa, big grasshopper. Big cactus.
Big one. Red outline means no.
Yep.
Blue outline means yes, maybe.
Yes. So when you're big enough, you can grab them. So they went yellow when I could grab them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I hit a rock.
That's cool.
Oh, that's nice. When you pick up a grasshopper, the icon changes. So you can see grasshopper legs in the ball for a bit. That's nice.
I didn't see that.
Cool. I can make up rocks now. It's actually kind of cool. And there's a rock in the poop now. The graphics are nice.
Yeah. No, it is. It is really good.
The gameplay is very straightforward. But yeah, it's nice the way it kind of adapts. The size works really well. Oh, that was sick.
I did both. Yeah, I saw. That's cool, man.
This is a full 5 on graphics. I feel like.
You've done a pretty good job. You think it's full 5? I don't know if it's full 5. There's only one scrolling background.
Okay. But like, the polish on the graphics I think is really cool. It's a nice art style. They're doing cool stuff like adding the item to the ball as it's rolling, and it can add more than one at the same time.
That's true, but I mean, I think this seems like a you just won.
I guess.
This feels mid tier to me. I wouldn't say a full 5. I bet there are going to be some very graphically impressive.
Okay, fair enough.
That's cool.
Oh, okay, no, they're different backgrounds. I finished that level. This is the new background.
Oh, okay. I thought this was like an interstitial.
There's a decent amount of stuff going on. The game is kind of the same at the minute, but I'd be interested to see how difficult like the hard level is. So I'm going to do a quick refresher.
Okay.
And then we'll give it a rain.
I wouldn't have thought this one would have been any good.
Shot hits the fan. Guinea Pig is playing Buried Things. Good luck. Is it just... I think it's just a speed upgrade.
Right, okay. Menu's nice.
Ooh, those grasshoppers.
I hate...
Whoa. Okay, yeah, it's... shit is hitting the fan. Excuse me, shot is hitting the fan.
Shot is hitting the phone. I like that they do the coloured outlines. I think that's cool.
Yeah, that's very nice.
What do those cookies do when you get them? It lasts for 3 seconds.
Shield.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Okay, let's go rate it.
All right.
So overall, I
Well,
guess we do the
I
other
mean,
stuff.
did you like it?
For an LD game, yes. So 2.5 is an average score. We're going to try and be as legit as possible about averages, because averages in game, I mean, we've got plenty to say about that. I would say this is, for an LD game, above average. There's more in it than I expected. It looks nicer than I expected.
Yeah, okay.
I reckon the overall might be somewhere around there.
I think, okay, I suspect that's probably about right. How fun was it? I didn't play it. It seemed like it was fine.
Fine, but not great.
There were no cool moments, right?
Yeah, like I wouldn't want to play it for more than 10 seconds, so I don't think you can say it's
I would say that is probably below average and fun.
I might put it there for fun.
Okay. Innovation. It's fishy.
It's fishy. There's no innovation. Sorry.
Theme. You start with nothing. It is a game. I mean, it's sort of. It's a game about getting more of a thing.
Yeah, no, I'm down with that being on theme. Like you start with, you've got to build up your dung pile. It's all about.
I would still say that's not. It's not as on theme as I imagine some of the things we're likely to see are going to be.
Okay.
Like I think, if you compare it to something like an Evoland or something, which I'm sure we will see, those games are going to be much more to theme, even if we're going to.
Well, are they much more to theme, or are they just different interpretations of theme? Starting with nothing doesn't necessarily mean starting with the game being absence. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think that. Sure, but I don't think the game feels like it's about starting with nothing. Like if you had to describe this game to someone.
Okay, that's a decent way of putting this. Okay, what do you reckon for theme maybe being that then? Wait, that's innovation. Whoops.
Yeah. Sure, 2.5.
I feel like theme is kind of an anomaly. It's not about.
It is an anomaly.
It's not about averages and is it better or worse than the theme average. It's just about 5 it's perfectly to theme and then a reduction from there. It's just between not to theme and absolutely to theme.
Yeah.
Graphics.
So graphically, it is good, right? Like you were going to see some shit.
Yeah.
But we are also likely to see some.
It had some nice, even though it's not beautiful, it had nice polish.
Yeah,
the outlines was cool. I loved the animation for the grasshopper legs and stone. At the same time, I was like genuinely surprised and very happy about it.
I heard your little gasp. Audio I couldn't hear, so that's all on you. Humor.
See, it's one of these where they just shouldn't have put it in, right? Is it humorous? I guess the fact that it's rolly shot. Is there some humor in like? I almost want to say it's not. Don't rate it, but this X doesn't seem to do anything, so I'm going to have to rate it.
I mean, it's got a degree. It's not funny, is it?
No.
Like 1. It's just.
1 is the literal minimum, and I laughed at rolly shot.
1.5. It didn't make me angry or sad.
Mood. I mean, it's set. It sticks. There's nothing breaks the atmosphere of the game. I guess.
That's true, actually. Yeah, it's very cogent. It's very
which is what Ludum is about.
Okay, then 3.5, 4. Well, 4.5. Okay.
It's weird to say that the overall is 3.5 when the average of our things is clearly not 3.5.
Maybe. Well, I don't think it is a 3.5 overall. I don't. I think this is.
You think this is like an average Ludum game?
I think we're going to see stuff that we're going to like a lot more than this.
Okay.
I think we're going to see stuff that we're going to like a bit less than this. Yeah, I'd say this is average.
Guinea Pig says, the sacrificial altar, was I just really lucky or is it always the first block you dig? No, you were really lucky.
Wait, which one's the sacrificial altar?
The 16 squares.
Yeah, no, you just got really lucky, bud.
Also, Guinea Pig found the thoughtful statue. That's great.
Yeah, you know.
That's probably, I reckon, one of the harder ones. That maybe is the one puzzle in there that I think is like, even though it's not presented particularly well, it's a good idea. I like that. That's a fun like method puzzle.
I wish I remembered which ones were which.
The dig here.
Right, got you.
Space arrow. That's like a fun one. That's like a fun little Easter eggy type one.
Yeah, no, I like that one. I was on board. Okay, cool. That's a game about poo.
And should we try and leave a comment with everyone? That's what we did last time.
Yeah, okay. Why don't you say the thing about the combined animation? You really liked that.
All right.
Yeah.
The next one is Keep Dreaming, Joshua.
Yeah. You're just going to go in order?
Yeah, we're just going to go smart filter.
Okay. You don't want to refresh every time?
No.
Okay.
We'll just do one roll of the smart filter and then go through that. So the web plugin doesn't seem to work, so we'll grab a download. Time to make a Ludum diary folder. Okay, so let's read the description.
All right.
I don't see a description anywhere.
Doesn't look like there's one on this one.
I guess we'll just dive in. Keep dreaming, Joshua. Hello, Mr. Rat. How are you? Hi, Joshua. You look sad. I have nothing, Mr. Rat. I quite like the text boxes.
Yeah, I like this aesthetic.
What do you mean? I have no family or friends.
Oh.
What about your toys? They are your family. They have no life.
Sad.
Yes, they have.
Oh.
They are sleeping.
Oh.
You should find their souls and wake them up. Thanks,
Don't
Mr.
like
Rat.
this.
I'll do that.
Humour value very low on this one.
Okay. You click on the floor to move to that spot.
Cool.
That's
it's made in
fun.
Flash.
Okay.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Animations and stuff.
Oh, this looks like a Flash game, yeah.
Red. Pink,
Does he
blue,
reset
orange. He goes pink, blue, yellow, red, orange. No, pink, blue, yellow, red, cyan, sorry.
Does he? He doesn't have a reset.
Pink, blue, yellow, red, cyan. Don't worry about it.
Alright.
Oh, it's not that.
Oh, so he wasn't making any noise when I first came in. Now I've clicked this. Every time his colour changes. Yeah. Oh no, it's not that. I just hear a tap. I just hear like a ding.
Try it in a different order. Maybe it's supposed to be cyan first. Cyan, pink, blue, yellow, red. This is good. This is fun.
So yellow, red, cyan, pink, blue, red, cyan, pink,
blue, yellow.
Yellow. Oh.
Oh.
Red, yellow, blue, orange, yellow. Red, yellow, blue, orange, yellow.
Wrong
Yellow,
order.
blue, orange, yellow, red. Orange, yellow, red. Fuck. Yellow,
blue. Start on blue. This puzzle sucks.
Blue, orange, yellow, red, yellow. Orange, yellow, red, yellow, blue. Well, that's all of them. Let's let's just relaunch it and maybe not go towards him then.
Yeah, okay. Are you allowed to just give up on this one?
What do you mean?
How much time do you want to give it? Like 5 minutes each?
Well, that one didn't have a solution, so.
We're currently working on a project for Steam. Is it this?
Yeah, it's not very clear, is it? Are they carrying on with this game, or are they just making something else?
It'd be very cheeky if this was their Steam project.
Well, I mean, maybe they're making it from now, like from this 72 hours.
I'm like so tempted to go and try and find the cool looking ones on LD, but I guess it's not a good spread, is it? It's made in Godot.
It's made in Godot. I feel like that's probably based on Flash. It looks very Flash.
Oh, it looks like you got the same thing again. You just restarted again.
Okay, here we go. So we've got a needle with a cord.
Yeah, what kind of toy is that?
And it's plumbing. This is a contain module.
It's yeah.
And
it's a pretty common game.
Unsolvable.
I'm guessing it's just connect them all up as opposed to.
Well, that's really easy. Oh, the game has frozen on the correct solution. We didn't actually get to see the correct solution. I clicked it to go to the correct solution, and then the needle got eyes, it looked like.
Mm.
And now brushy.
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 I think cat o' nine tails, because obviously he's a very troubled boy.
What is this? The Binding of Isaac? And this is, okay, a different kind of puzzle.
What is it? It's like a sort of rubbish bad puzzle.
Now. They made this in 3 days.
Yeah, no. It's just no buried things, is it?
It's not dig stuff. This game is not dig stuff.
Right, this puzzle one right.
I feel like this doesn't have a solution.
I feel like that animation on the left probably isn't supposed to be looping like that.
You reckon? I thought it looked like an old projector or something.
Maybe. Click on that little tree a lot.
Oh, okay, no, you can actually leave the screen. You just have to click very specifically in the last couple pixels.
And you've got to get the spooky note.
Oh no.
You got caught by the nun.
Try again.
I guess you have to click on her when their eyes are closed, and it's like
yeah.
What's the time, Mr. Wolf kind of thing.
Oh, I am actually walking right now. You move when the eyes are closed. Okay. Alright. It's acceptable.
Oh, here she is. You went a little far on that one. Oof.
It was fine though, apparently. Okay.
Gotta get that.
I guess I got it.
You got it. Oh, careful of the spooky nun.
That is very spooky.
What house is he in? Where are you, boy? This is the one you got by the nun. It said, you got got by the nun, try again.
Oh, solved?
Frozen. Oh, solved. Now that has... Oh, there is toys.
Yeah, he's bringing them to life.
Isn't one of them just like a toy? Oh, I guess it's supposed to be a voodoo doll. Is the third one.
Yeah.
Do you want to try it again, or...?
Yeah, we'll actually get the other two done.
Alright.
Okay, write them down, and we'll blitz through all the permutations.
Well, let's just see what it opens with. Blue. It's cyan and pink. Blue. Yellow.
And let's get ready. Okay. Oh.
Blue. Yellow. Red. Cyan. Pink.
Do I have to click them as they're actually on screen? Let's try that. No. No,
No,
this puzzle is
it
just as bad as it looks.
it just sucks.
But we tried all
Just
5
start.
permutations of the other pattern, so
Okay, well, I
just
think we can
doesn't work.
safely say that this one is not worth the finish.
Alright.
It wasn't like bad though.
The game?
No, like the
So-
aesthetic's nice.
Yeah, it's a good looking game. Let's come back to overall last, I guess, on these. So the fun, it's not
Yeah.
fun.
It's not fun.
Not at all.
No.
The first puzzle is a pre-existing puzzle, and not even a very good one at that. The second one is not
What's
a particularly
Sun's
well done version of a puzzle in like Inside and many other games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's not much
no
innovation
fun
either.
being had. Yeah, no innovation being had. Theme, I guess, the same as the other one. It's like you do start
Yeah,
with
it's sort of on there.
yeah.
It's not very funny. Sorry.
Why did you add humour to this?
I
can't even. The X does nothing. Oh, the X just removes your current rating.
You can give it a 0.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a good mood. It's good. It's moody.
Yeah. I think
They haven't got graphics. They didn't. Why would you not put art as one of your things? It's one of the only things you've done a good job of.
maybe it's not their art.
Huh. Weird. I don't even think it's a 5 mood. No, maybe it is.
Like mood is consistency to me.
Okay. Yeah, right, fine. Fair enough. Overall, what would was the music any good? Oh, they didn't have an order.
There wasn't really music.
Like a 1.5?
Overall 1.5. Is slightly better than the worst possible LD game. I think it's like 2.
Okay, give it a 2. It's carried by the fact that it's got pretty good cogent artwork. You should just say like, why didn't you guys submit for art? Your art was really good.
I'm gonna say great art style, and maybe they'll read that and go, "That's a shame. We stole that bit."
You can put a video on itch of your game. We should do a video of buried things. I'll edit that all together at some point because it's nice. Cool, nice. Double chat comment. Let's do another one.
All right.
I've no idea what you're supposed to do with bloody bug puzzle. And your HA link seems to be working. Blind.
Blind. Blind.
Blind.
It's some cool art so far. It's in Russian. Okay.
Fun.
Okay. This is the Quest game, telling a story about a blind.
This is the Quest game.
This is the Quest
I've heard
game.
about this.
Let's start downloading while we're reading.
Yandex.disk.
I don't know if I trust this.
I don't like that. Yeah.
I think we maybe. Oh wait, hang
Why
on.
people?
No, this is just. It's a Dropbox, and I can just do a direct download. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Just surprised you don't already have Yandex.disk. It's a classic. Everyone's got Yandex.disk.
I think I've got an old account somewhere. I don't know if I'd be able to still log into it.
I was one of the OGs on Yandex.disk.
Has this not finished downloading it? Okay, well, while it does, this is the Quest game, telling a story about a blind boy called Poe, who lives with his caretaker Aura. Poe lived happily, peacefully, and all in all enjoyed his life, until once he got lost and gained the eyesight. The world he was living in turned out to be something completely different from what he imagined. It's kind of a cool concept.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do this idea. I always thought it'd be a really fun game idea about having a game where you're blind and you can't exactly see the world, and then later you can return as like a different character or something and see that you were seeing it all wrong.
Yeah.
Like you thought you lived in like a kind of magical kingdom, and then you come back and you actually turned out to live in like a war zone or something, and your parents were just sheltering you or something.
That's cool. We've got a decent cool team. I think we're going to get a good game out of this.
Nice. I'm excited.
Poe is going to find the truth about himself and the reality around him. It's a decently sized game. It's a big download and taking a while to unzip as well. It is a Unity game. No, it's not. I just launched the Unity Crash Handler. But it is a Unity game.
It is a Unity game.
Well, I hope so. Oh, we're getting full screen. Okay, let's see if is OBS dealing with full screen correctly. Because that could be a problem.
What'd you say? Say that again?
OBS may not deal with the full screen correctly.
Right.
So let's see. Is OBS actually displaying this game in full screen? Do you see it, Niz?
No.
Oh,
For a second there.
you were roboting as well.
Okay, I think we're okay now. I see it when it's full screen.
Okay, so you can actually see the game.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the stream can though.
I'm just gonna go and check that. So is it just black on screen?
Black screen for the.
Okay. In that case, I guess we'll have to skip this one. Any forced full screen.
That one looks good.
Can I force it to run windowed in a disable full screen optimization? Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, they've removed the. Well, actually, if you can edit that Unity Player DLL file, but it's not worth it.
Okay. Never mind. Next. This is called updates.
Okay. Your CPU crashed. And your game is now showing only binary code.
Downloading first. Oh, it's a web player. Okay. Cool. So
don't worry, it was there as well. It's written on the screen.
Just in case it's different, we'll go ahead. Your CPU crashed and your game is now showing only binary code. Don't worry, you can collect updates in the game and unlock the graphics and audio, but be careful. If an enemy hits you, you lose progress. You'll have to install them again. When you hear the witch laugh,
stop move.
Frankenstein
is surely big.
Will he still be big in binary form? Amazing hints. Incredible.
It was why did they just briefly forget how to speak English for that second sentence? When you hear the witch laugh, stop move. Frankenstein is surely big. Will he still be big in binary form?
Inferno likes our game. Thank you very much, Inferno. Guinea Pig doesn't like the placement of Golden Chalice necessarily. It's possible that you didn't fully solve it, and you've maybe brute forced it. But I don't know. You can send me a PM or something with how you solved it. But there is something that does give you a very specific position for that. If you started like this, I wonder what controls you needed to use. Not sure what that means.
Steve also, it wasn't black screen for me. That was graphics. It just wasn't streaming. That's How's Moving Castle. No, that's not How's Moving Castle. That's the other castle. It's a bit bad, yeah.
There is sound.
It's not on the screen, but also I can't interact with this. This is probably as well. This is such
Close that for a second. What was anything you said?
Does the stream not like you going full screen at all?
No. OBS is funny about full screenness when you're doing a desktop share.
So you don't do display capture?
That's what I'm doing, display capture. But if you don't specifically assign the windows show this full screen application, it gets pissy.
I'm looking. Yeah, the screen's still black on OBS. I'm noticing that as well on the stream mode.
Oh, hang on. Am I getting the thing where my browser just stops working, which seems to be a thing recently?
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Oh, do I want to restart this stream? Probably.
We can just call it. I mean, it's late.
I think let's finish up here. But yeah, my weekly streams, one of which is tomorrow. This is the plan. I'm going to carry on rating Ludum Diary games on stream. So by all means, join us. Come and play games with us, and we'll rate them and see what everyone else made for Ludum Diary. Yeah. Cheers for this weekend, Niz.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate. Honestly, it's been really, really, really fun. Let's make games together all the time.
Yeah. We need to discuss TDS again and work out what's going on next.
Yeah, we do. Just find fun ways to do this in a less terrifying and more productive fashion.
Bye.
All right, man. Speak soon.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching the stream. Catch you all later. Bye bye.